Hello. I'm going to talk about GamerGate. It's been a thing. And it's not fun. In fact, I think there's been a lot of misrepresentation on both sides, mainly on the side of the GamerGate people. People seem to think that it's a hate movement directed at women. No. Hopefully this will shed some light on it. This is also something of a representation. Please hold your abuse until the end. Thank you. Alright, so here you fucking go. It's not about what's wrong with women or anything. It's about what's wrong with the people who caused this in the first place. And in fact, I am reading this because I get so mad about this that my brain models up. I say those women because nobody actually gives a shit about female representation in gaming. I don't mean I mean nobody actually stands against it, is what I mean to say. I'm just going to get some of this out of the way. Zoe Quinn may or may not have had sex with a bunch of dudes to get easy positive reviews on her game, which did not succeed the first time around. Who gives a fuck? Honestly, when this was found out and brought to light, that was enough. It got brought to light, whatever. Now people know. But unleashing a shitstorm of abuse on this person just gave her fuel to play the victim. Sorry, no, she really did become a victim of sorts in the end. Come on. And the initial posts of this whole thing were on WizardChan. There were 2 isolated comments made about Zoe Quinn and her game. No replies. No mentions of Zoe Quinn or her game were made ever again on that board. Until, of course, she unleashed a social media shitstorm on Twitter about them. Then they started being like, okay, well, we've never spoken about that. And everyone was like, oh, dirty neckbeard, shut up. Come on. These accusations of harassment and calls to her phone continued. Apparently. There were no recordings or screenshots of this. They never surfaced. The only screenshots that ever popped up were these 2 isolated comments in a board of thousands and thousands. And keep in mind that this thread would have sunk like a fucking rock because no one replied to it. And we all know Zoe Quinn gained this massive following and her game got green-lighted from this. So 2 and fucking 2. Do we really think that Zoe Quinn was lurking WizardChan and just happened to see this one tiny post? I'm not going to say she made it herself. I'm going to imply it. But because I want to deal with truth, I'm going to skip the fuck over this. Anyway, the sabotaging of a for-charity pro-feminism gaming event for her own devices? Come on. And ignoring the pleas of the organisers to know what she thought was wrong with it in the first place. They wanted to know why it was offending her. No responses instead started another shitstorm, which eventually sabotaged that and possibly cost a lot of female developers the chance to make their own game. Representing women's rights, that's right, sure. And then after all this happened, after it surfaced that she'd had sex with these people, supposedly, after it surfaced that WizardChan may not have actually said shit in the first place, that she may have made it all up to get a bunch of attention, every comment like that gets censored from Reddit, BuzzFeed, whatever, and even 4chan? Of course people were angry. Come on. I'm not saying this is 100% true. I will say that it's far more likely that these initial actions are all that person's bad. Not the abuse. I'm talking about the shady bullshit that came first. And the ensuing shitstorm was sort of to be expected. Not justified. And the death threat received recently, and definitely not written by the will of, you know who, read like a 60-year-old trying to be hip. Would anyone like that really use all those buzzwords? Oh, and also the university said, yeah, that's not real. And if someone really planned on doing that, why would they write a letter about it? If they hated them so much, why wouldn't they just do it? Instead, they warn them so that they can stop and get away safely and lead their lives in peace. And if it was a joke, is anyone really stupid enough to risk their entire life over a joke? Because that is... criminal repercussions can come from that. Not was that fucking stupid. But you know what? It's possible that they are. Moving on. So yeah, the person involved with that stood to gain a massive chunk of media attention, which she did. Mainstream media too, not just Kotaku, etc. And more following, yeah. I don't want to dwell on this, but that's the basics. Bear with me. I'll also say that the people who threatened and harassed Zoe Quinn and anyone associated with her did far more harm than good. It's just shit. And yeah, people who did nothing wrong got caught in the crossfire. I genuinely believe that some of these journalists or people associated with her did shit, or may not agree with them, but they didn't actively sabotage all this bullshit or sleep with people to get positive reviews, did they? And yet they ate all this doxing shit as well. Like, how don't you people realise that doing this shit is only going to cause more people to gravitate to their cause without even understanding what ours is? Because ours isn't that. It's not a representation of why we are a part of this fuss at all. It's unfortunately the loud minority. People think that we're lashing out because we actually hate women or something. Not because we hate a network of malignant tumours that are staying in gaming by injecting constant non-gaming content that only fits their own skewed agenda and isn't about the passion of gaming at all. And there'll always be edge masters who say, no, I really do hate women. Seriously, we don't give a fuck. As long as people want to play games with no ulterior motive or delusion. So, here we fucking go. These people in general have been pushing to turn gaming into a giant social issue for years. There are so many actual articles posted daily by places we've all seen and cringed at that aren't about gaming at all, but instead preach the injection of various social ideologies. I'm pretty hesitant at calling the whole misogyny in gaming or whatever it is an ideology compared to actual feminism for people with real problems. In fact, calling this stuff feminism trivializes the movement as a whole. If they didn't like games, why not just pick the ones they like? Donate to ones they like the idea of, or develop ones they like, even. That's what everyone else does. And by everyone else, I don't mean men. That would be fucking dumb. By everyone else, I mean the entire gaming community who isn't Anita Sarkeesian or attention-seeking cronies or any of that crowd. They don't represent women. They represent a certain brand of egotistical narcissists and nothing more. Everyone mostly just played games before this, and love or hate them was driven by a passion for gaming. These whiners decided they would use it as their personal ego booster, much as a lot of people just game for attention. No, I'm not saying women do this, people do this. Like, a lot of these figures have said multiple times that they don't even like the aspects of games that would sometimes be the defining aspect of games. Which is cool, whatever. They're not harming anyone by having that opinion. But now, they're headlocking actual developers into mutating or kneecapping their games to fit their preference because they whine the loudest. Instead of furthering the passion by creating new things, they make other people's games about their feelings rant on and on about how other people's work somehow offends them. And people work fucking hard to make it, and it gets crippled and changed for what? Imagine seeing your life's work hamstrung over this. And by this, I don't mean feminism. This isn't feminism. And the passion that gaming has should never be discredited. Because it's fucking there. It was there when I sat playing a fucking shitty bootleg of Halo 1 on my dad's Mac in 2000 and whatever the fuck it was. I played the same level over and over for hours because I fucking loved it. When Gaben played a Star Trek text game, that was the first thing he ever played, and that inspired him to become the developer he is now. He's a billionaire. And no, he didn't ask anyone to do that for him. He did it because he wanted to do what he thought was right. Those were his dreams. He followed them. It's there in everyone who knows the feeling I'm talking about. So I don't care what side you're on. If you know that feeling, then you are a part of GamerGate. Simple. So the one real offensive thing here is that when people try to say, people often try and say that gamers are nothing but a bunch of loser neckbeards with shitty social outlooks and no prospective future. Generalizations, really? From the people who claim to have been oppressed by such things often. And yeah, this is said quite fucking often by Zoe Quinn and the like. And I've got my own dreams and whatever the fuck else. And same goes for almost every person who criticizes these people. They're not automatically neckbeards or whatever because they don't agree with them. That's the kind of shit that feminism is supposed to be stopping, not encouraging. What do normal, responsible adults do with their feelings? They cater them as they wish by surrounding themselves with things they love, and they acknowledge that their personal feelings aren't the center of the fucking world, and that everybody can like whatever they want, unless it's harming someone else. And no, Master Chief being a male is not harming shit. The same goes for the rare morons who actually target these people because they're women. These people deserve to be pointed out and laughed at, because same as the people they're harassing, they should just learn to grow the fuck up. There's a difference. There are people who are furious at these people because of the reasons I'm currently going to extreme detail over, and there's people who are just childish and hateful. Separate the two and you'll find that there's a vast minority, that minority being the latter group. Nobody hates these people because they're women. Nobody. They are hated for bringing gender politics into gaming and trying to force the entire industry into a giant special snowflake catering machine rather than promoting the growth of what we all grew to love. Anita and whoever the fuck else could just make their own goddamn games. Yeah, they really could. Really. They don't, and if they don't get hired because they're a woman, yeah, that's fucking shit. No one encourages that. Everyone wants it gone. But if they don't get hired because they didn't have the correct qualifications or because their game wouldn't sell, that's not fucking sexist. No, that's just normal business. Take for an example, Notch. Designed Minecraft by his fucking self because he dreamed of a game that he thought would be amazing. I don't know the entire story, but I bet that Fedora sporting Swede worked his fucking ass off for that. He didn't whine and bitch at, say, like Ubisoft saying that they should build this dream game of his till they did it. Hell, did any indie developers who got big, e.g. Daisy or Limbo or whatever, did they get big because people liked their game or because they complained at major developers until they bullied their way into it? And no, I'm not using examples that have only men. Just, I know that would come up somewhere, no. Just, these children in adult suits want other people to make this shit for them. They can do it. If they have a true passion for gaming, they can get the fuck out there and do their best to make games of their dreams, and that's nothing short of glorious. Would I want to play whatever they make in this alternative universe where they went out and did this shit themselves? Probably not. But I would never say they shouldn't continue loving their craft. And nobody else would either. I would never try my best to rattle them with a storm of complaints and insults till they change to fit the mold that I thought best. And complaining constantly over Twitter and tabloid sites is not doing something. People want a game? Cool. Literally nobody cares if they're a woman or not. But sabotaging games that they didn't create and trying to invalidate everyone else's passion because it offends them is so disgusting. Gaming is not exclusive at all. Anybody can pick up any kind of game and make whatever they like of it, whether a casual or hardcore player. Not a single responsible, mature human being has ever persecuted somebody for what gender they are when they're playing games. And you know what? Yeah, big developers do make games targeted at boys. Like, that's sort of unwelcoming to female gamers, sort of. Probs don't know because I'm a guy. What is empathy? What is compassion? You know what I did when Young Justice was targeted at little kids, even though it's the kind of thing I would possibly like to watch? I fucking watch that shit anyway. Yeah. Didn't ring DC and be all, motherfuckers, I'm not a kid, how dare you exclude adults? I just liked it for what it was. Didn't try and change anything. That's how stuff works. Anyway, boys are who have generally been known to play video games in recent history. It's just a fact, not an opinion. That's where the stereotype comes from. Now the stereotype is dead. Yeah, now girls play games too. No, I do not care. No, I'm not against it. I welcome this with open arms as 97% of civilization does. But yeah, games from big devs still sort of cater to the boys. The answer to that isn't to whine and bitch at the devs till they cater to you. It's to get the fuck out there yourself and contribute to an effort to make games that you want to see. Or just play anyway because you were a grown person and couldn't care less who was meant to enjoy what. Anything from donating $5 to a Kickstarter or going through uni with a software engineering degree and trying your damnedest to make stuff yourself. Like, that's contributing. That's working towards this, which is, people do this. It's great. But as I said, the shit before is just not on. And it's not about equality. Anybody with half a brain can see that these people are not on about equality. It's about spoiled brats who never quite grew up, expecting everything to be shaped to their over-entitled wishes, and don't think for a fucking second that it's any different. I've seen women with fucking problems. I've seen women who need real feminism. It's grim, it's dark, and it's obscene. How many women get trodden on by society? Really trodden on by actual problems. Let me fucking tell you, the girl I had to help out of her house because her meth head dad thought that she had to have sex with him and then beat the crap out of her when she refused. I had to go over there and help her out of that house. Hey, never saw him. I had to try and take care of this person, and not once. Like, she didn't give a fuck that Samus's breasts were unrealistically large. I have dead friends, and if they were alive, they would be wondering why the fuck these people claim to be representing feminism when they're focusing on the depictions of women in video games. Especially like this, and not going about it in the way that it would change. These people's issues are goddamn real and destroying them piece by piece. And last I checked, fantastical depictions of imaginary fucking worlds and characters can't do shit. It's all on you. Your interpretation is your own responsibility. If you burst into tears because Mario saves a woman he loves, then sorry, Nintendo don't have to do shit. In fact, it's the kind of stuff that people just have to get over. It's part of growing up. It is. It sounds crass, it sounds harsh, but really it's golden advice. And I've run into instances of women being bullied just for being girls on games. Every time without fail, the ones harassing them were the minority. People speak out against them, people shut them down. It's no longer welcome. That's already on the way to being achieved. It's not gone yet, but yeah, it's fine to focus on that. Once again, that's all on the person, not the games. If there's one thing to focus on, it's combating these people by continuing to stand up against them and showing them that their backwards attitude is unwelcome. This behaviour certainly isn't a result of the games at all. That's like saying rape is a result of the clothes the victim was wearing. I didn't like Bungie firing Marty O'Donnell. I didn't like Destiny as much as I could have. I have many ideas for what they could have done better. I think that almost every male protagonist of video games is unrealistically fit, brave, or whatever. Hell, I don't even give a shit about that one. People might. The point is, I get the fuck over it, because games aren't made to my wishes. I fucking play them as a privilege. Yeah, that's how the word is actually used. In the hopes that I can share the love that the developers had when they made these fictional worlds and characters. If I ever become so dissatisfied with gaming that I can't bear to play anything out today, pretty impossible with how diverse gaming is, by the way, I know 100% that I'd go out and do something about it. Maybe I'd thump out some frustration through a keyboard once or twice. But I'd be backing it the fuck up by striving to see my dreams realized. And I'd certainly leave people to love what they want without persecuting them for having a different opinion. And that's what it is in the end. It's what you support by supporting GamerGate. You don't support hateful, bullying psychopaths. These people are not a part of this movement. Nor do you support people who have had their passion trodden on. You support people who sat back and let these people do their thing because everybody deserves an opinion. But now we're seeing our idols being forced to release gutted husks of what they envisioned because they're scared of the social media shitstorm that these people will do their best to cause if their precious feelings aren't catered to. This is us speaking up. And this is the voice of all the industry employees who are forced to stay quiet this whole time for fear of losing their jobs and being targeted. We are open to all genders. Obvious. To all kinds of stories and platforms. Casual, hardcore, whatever. We are anybody who truly loves gaming. We know that the developers are listening. And don't you guys ever forget that we are behind you 100%. We're behind you against anybody who wants to use our passion as a pedestal to their own image and ego. That is GamerGate. Stop trying to bully this industry into accommodating your hurt feelings. It's time to stop. And if you people truly love games, then by all means, go ahead. Hold every convention you could ever want. Make whatever you want. Say whatever you want. And you're a part of gaming. but try to be dictators of what we should all love and what we should make, sit the fuck down. Only the tiniest minority will ever oppose actual feminism. And this is not actual feminism. Stop this crap. Focus on the issues that are really present. We are behind getting rid of that 100%. All of us. We are not, however, going to allow this power trip that is happening to continue. This is not a hate crusade against women. I just said what GamerGate is. Look it all up. Just remember, we're in this for the games. That's what side we are.